Thank you for making me stop for a minute for that break. Wow, Marti, you've been through a lot of different types of careers. But the last one, and you're traveling from San Francisco and Reno, and doing that work is so different from your previous work in some respects, but then still a lot of pressure and tension in both.
Yeah, well, in large part, um, because the company was still early stage and there were investors involved, there was a lot of pressure about get the clients, make the clients happy, grow the company, show this. So we brought on, I'll keep all of the company names out of this, but we brought on a major health plan that I had been part of the team putting that whole contract together and everything, and it was like we tripled the size of clients served in a month.
Oh my gosh.
And then doubled the next month. Well, I was the VP of operations. That's where it all falls apart. Suddenly, you've suddenly find out that the system that you designed to do whatever it was, in this case it was notifying physicians that their patient had a problem, suddenly that system doesn't work very well because you're dealing with doctors who turn their fax machines off in their offices because they don't want the charges. And
wow.
So all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, now we have to figure something else out. I know that sounds like very old world fax machines and all of that now, but yeah, that's what we were doing. So it was that rapid growth and the expectations, and the CEO said to us very clearly, if you're on the executive team, you need to be working at least 60 hours a week.
Oh, wow. So very high expectations for the employees even. Now you had said, your mentor previously in the child abuse program that you were leading really looked at your training ability. Did you use some of those skills within this position?
I always used those skills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. So in my healthcare career, I was often doing training. So the trips back and forth between Reno and New York were about training physicians on how to use our system, how to respond to the system, training all of the admin staff about how to support the physician using the system, etc. So yeah, that ended up being clearly a thread that ran through my life.
And even into your next career by being a certified coach.
Oh, yeah. So I left the healthcare position, and quite frankly, I should have left a little sooner because by the time I left, I was physically very fragile. What I understand now was really stress related, but I had lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
And I could hardly eat. A colleague of mine said to me later, yeah, it was that you just really couldn't stomach it. I was like, wow, okay. I was having GI symptoms and no appetite and just shedding weight like crazy. I went from wearing a size 8 to a size 2 in a pretty short period of time.
Well, I love the comment, you couldn't stomach it. Yeah. Because I think a lot of our dis-ease, is really about stress, pressure, and how we then deal with that, how our body deals with that. That is a powerful statement.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I found it to be that.
Here, let me get you some water.
Oh,
sorry. Well, and did you find that to be true even with the child abuse situation, that it got to, although I want to say stomach it would be the right thing at that point, it was more, to me it sounded like more an emotional drain.
Well,
at that time.
Just as I was starting that position as the state director for Parents Anonymous, excuse me, Parents Anonymous of Oregon, I had a big GI bleed where when the ambulance arrived, my blood pressure was 40 over 0.
Oh my gosh. So you were
Yeah.
really pushing yourself
Oh,
hard during
yeah.
all those years.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than...
Way more than was healthy.
Right.
Obvious. I couldn't see that, but I should have been able to see that. It was pretty blatant in front of me.
Why do you think that we can't see those things when they're happening?
Well, for me, I believed that if I cut back and didn't push myself as I was, that I was weak or I was failing.
So back to those internal beliefs again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the internal beliefs, but also you had mentioned the, what's the word I want? Ginkgo biloba. That sense of productivity, that you saw success or your worth as being doing more.
Right.
And more.
Right.
I mean, and if you think that, you can never do enough.
Right.
You always have to do more. Oh, don't look at me like that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh, is
But
there,
it's, yeah.
is there a kindred spirit?
Yeah, maybe
here?
a kindred spirit here. But, it's interesting how we own that so much to the point to our own detriment.
Yeah.
But that's, again, that programming that we get as children.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
listen to what our parents say and we absorb it, and we don't have the ability to discern whether it's the truth or not. And then that affects us for the rest of our lives.
So the breakthrough for me came after I left that job, when I was introduced to what I think is probably the best, most scientifically valid personality assessment out there. Now, I'm not a psychologist, so I have to do all of my disclaimers around that, but and there's certainly room for debate about that. But the one that I was introduced to was developed, well, the underpinning of it, the theory of it was developed by Dr. Martin Seligman from the University of Pennsylvania. He was the president of the American Psychological Association in 1996. And he said, paraphrasing him, "We're doing this wrong. We look at dysfunction and what's broken and what's not going right. What if we flipped that on its head and started looking at what was going right and what people really could build on? What if we actually started looking at what it takes to develop a life worth living, a life with meaning?" And so he's considered the father of positive psychology. Excuse me. This is one of those when I talk.
So, positive psychology, did he develop then a personality type test to try to help determine that?
He did. And then the Gallup organization got involved, and they developed one that I sort of like a little better. Just, it's a little more refined, and it's called the Strength Finder.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, because we started to use that among educators. Yeah, the Strength Finder.
And how does that function? How do you do that?
So it's an online survey, and I haven't done this for a number of years now, but let me see if I remember this correctly. So you respond to these online questions with how much the statement, it's not a question, it's actually a statement, how much you agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
And the result of that is it produces a report for you that shows your strengths in their categorization. So they have categorized 24 essential character strengths. And they have things like strategic, intellection, futuristic, I'm giving you some of mine, optimizer, um, um, yeah, but others that sound sort of like that. And what happens, at that point, you got a report that showed your top 5. And it didn't show the remaining 19 because it said the theory was these are the ones that are influencing you more than anything else. And so you looked at these strengths, and it provides you with a description of a person strong in this does da 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 da, approaches things in this particular way. And of course, I jumped into this, dug into this, beyond just doing the survey, etc. In fact, when I became a coach, I was a coach who used the Strength Finder and the Gallup material before Gallup started using it in coaching. They eventually got there, but a group of coaches started using that as a basis for our coaching. And so most of my coaching clients took the Strength Finder. And when I did team coaching, everyone took it. And then we started looking at what does this team look like? And we didn't want everyone to be strong in the same thing.
No,
Right.
no,
We wanted to make sure that we had, a variety of strengths. The thing that I'm impressed about with the Strength Finder is there are no 2 identical profiles in more than 3 million.
Wow.
So there is real uniqueness in this. Now you can do it very superficially, but if you really get down into it, you really start learning how this number 1 strength works with this number 2 strength to produce something that's different than the next person who has those 2 strengths.
I'm gonna go home and look up Strength Finder.
Well, we'll require you to buy a book, and in the book there is a code. I think you still have to buy a book. Maybe you could just sign on for the assessment. But you get a code, you can take this, and it's fascinating. So that was
Sounds like
really a point for me to begin to identify things that I felt were more objective about me. So it wasn't, so way back to when I was sitting in the park with Carol and she said, "You're a better trainer than me," that was subjective. She was comparing me to herself. So that didn't really tell me who I am. It told me who I am in comparison to her around a specific skill.
But it's also what you can do.
Yes. But again, the character strengths are different than skills or talents. The character strengths are probably there, again, from those early childhood years. So they are both nature and nurture. So they are both what we're born with and what we experience in our early childhood.
So is that what then inspired you to come up with Inspire Growth?
So that was a significant part of it. I began to really explore my strengths. And when I started looking at, one of the things I always did in coaching, of course, as a coach, I needed to have my own coach. So my own coach also pushed me in this direction, guided me in this direction. No, pushed me in this direction. Really to, what is it you do better than the next 10,000 people? And so we worked with the Strength Finder. We went back and did like a life map, chronology about peak experiences and what made those so powerful for me. What were my memories and my associations with certain roles and certain people and certain situations that I had encountered in my life. And I started noticing that through all of that, what was most satisfying to me was when I had been a part of helping someone else to realize that they had more potential, that they had potential to do something even greater than what they were doing, which is a loose definition for me of growth.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
doing
beautiful.
something more than you've recognized.
Well, really lifting other people up to see the truth within themselves and also the power within themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't think that traditionally parents always tend to do that, or our educational system doesn't always tend to do that. So that's beautiful. Now, how do you live that today?
Well, I certainly don't claim to be a perfectionist about that. I do have perfectionist tendencies about other things, but that's a different story. So when I'm really trying to figure out what's my role in something, I really go back to, if my mission here is to inspire growth, where is the opportunity here to do that? And I know you and I, Mary, share that Carrie Newcomer question, what is mine to do in this? And so for me, it's sometimes understanding I need to just stay out. Sometimes I need to not get involved in something. Sometimes I need to let my kids go do what they're going to do and have the experience and figure out what it means to them, not what it means to me.
Oh, amen. Yeah.
And that's really
hard.
hard.
You and I said that at the same time.
Yeah.
That's really hard, but that's the truth. I mean,
it is hard.
We want to save them or to, warn them, right? Or teach them.
And the same is true for friends and,
yes.
And the same is true for people I don't know. Sometimes I just want them to know that I think they should do things a particular way, right?
Yes.
I don't have children, but I have dogs, and today I was walking them, and every time one of them got out of my sight, I would call them, and I thought, oh my God, I'm just constantly telling them where to be and what to do, and I thought, I gotta knock that off and just allow them to be little dogs running in the grass and having a good time. And I presume that is something like what you do with children.
With children, yeah.
So I'm getting ready to set my time as
well. I would also clarify my children are adults at this point.
But still, even as adults, it's challenging.
I know. I still want to say.
Yeah. Wait, I don't think you should do that.
I know. But
have you thought about?
Yeah. Yes.
But aren't we when we do that? Don't we prevent people from learning the lessons that they have to do by always trying to...
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But it's hard to remember that in the moment sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
But that's the lesson.
So all of that really comes back to a big part of why I wanted to do Tranquilo with you, is that whole idea of, I think I'm on this earth to help people grow. And so if we have this monthly discussion group where people look at serious questions like, what helps you stay in balance in your life, and how has generosity impacted you, and those sorts of things, I think that that's very consistent with what I'm supposed to be doing. And the reinforcement, or the way I know that that's true, is that it feels right to me. It's very satisfying to be a part of that, to be able to help people look at the questions that are important to them.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Marti. That is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
If we could each find what is our place here on this planet, what is it we are meant to do, as you have found, I think we'd have more joy and happiness, and the world would be a better place.
Much better place. Maybe we can clone you.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for
Yeah,
today
thank
and
you.
for this
That was
interview.
Very enjoyable. Thank you.
My pleasure.